I'm Jesse. He's Emerson. They are DraftKings contributors Nick Friar and Erik Halterman, and they are here for MLB Cover the Bases. So we're going to take a DFS and Sportsbook look at tonight's MLB slate. We got 7 games. They're starting at 6:10 p.m. Eastern.
So as we round the bases, all right, we connect. We put ball to bat. Wow. The first base we approach, that's first base. Favorite pitcher, Nick?
Yeah, I'm worried this is going to be a little chalky tonight, but it's just too good to pass up on. Jose Barrios is at 5.5K going up against the Red Sox tonight. He just dealt against them. I got to imagine this pricing is just based off the last 2 series. His previous 2 starts before he saw the Red Sox, because obviously he didn't do as well there, but he dominated them last time out. And they have a 133 ISO against right-handed pitching, and their bottom 10 in OPS and WOBA against right-handed pitching. And when you look at some of their deeper numbers, they're just outside the bottom 10 in terms of hard hit rate against right-handed pitching. They also have a pretty abysmal walk rate against right-handed pitching too. So this is a guy you can roster him and then pair him up with like a Scherzer or a Corbin Burns tonight. But I think Barrios has to be the favorite value play and one of the favorite pitching options tonight.
All right, Easy E, what do you want, dude?
Yeah, I do think you have to go with Barrios unless you're scared of following the crowd here. 6.35 ERA on the season makes his price look correct, but it's so early that things can be very skewed by one bad start, and he had an awful one to start the year, giving up 4 earned runs while getting just 1 out against the Rangers. To throw another name out there, I think you could just pair him with Max Scherzer, because Barrios is so cheap that you're still having a pretty inexpensive pitching staff if you go that route. Scherzer at 9,300. Facing a middle-of-the-road, I'd say, Cardinals offense. Still looks like Max Scherzer this year. The walks are a little up through 3 starts, but he's still striking out a third of opposing batters. So I'd be going with Scherzer and Barrios as my default plan unless I felt like getting particularly creative.
All right, Erik, second base. Take us to your favorite hitter on the slate.
Yeah, I like Nick Castellanos, 5,300 against Kyle Freeland and the Rockies. I like a lot of the hitters in both sides of this matchup because these 2 teams just squared off last week, and advantage goes to the hitters when you've just seen a pitcher recently. Castellanos will get the platoon advantage here against Freeland, who allows a ton of contact, 18% strikeout rate for his career. It's actually below 15% this season, and it's in a hitter-friendly park too, so it's even more exciting. Not Coors Field, but Phillies Park is one of the best hitters parks outside of that kind of elevation. Castellanos has had a strong start to his Phillies career. He's hitting .317 with 3 homers, and his expected batting average is actually exactly .317 as well, so it looks all deserved. He's got a career high barrel rate of 13% too, so he looks like exactly what the Phillies thought they were getting. I think it's a good matchup with the platoon advantage against an unimposing pitcher at a good park. I think it's everything you want in a guy that's going for over 5,000.
All right, Nick, hit us with your favorite hitter.
And normally I'm not going to, go away from Nick Castellanos. I've been on him a little bit recently. Obviously he's been hitting pretty well. Even got a hit last night in that Angel Hernandez game, which was brutal. So I cannot believe Eric Lauer got 13 strikeouts, by the way. I'm still upset about that because I may or may not have had the under for that one. But anyways, I'm going on a rant here. Yordan Alvarez is actually the guy that I like most, of course, in the outfield as well at 5.5K going up against Dane Dunning in that brutal Texas bullpen. Look, Alvarez is hitting really well against right-handed pitching, has a 44.4% hard hit rate. And I know he was in a little bit of slump, still kind of in a slump, but he did get a hit yesterday to kind of at least take a step in the right direction. More importantly for me, where you see him hitting right-handed pitching hard, you look at what Dunning has done against left-handed hitters. They have in 29 plate appearances, left-handed hitters have a 75% hard hit rate against Dunning. I didn't believe that number when I saw it. I had to triple check it 15 times. But yeah, so lefties against Dunning tonight, you're going to see a theme with me.
All right, Friar, third base, favorite value play. Who's your dude?
So like I said, you're going to see a theme with me. Michael Brantley, I think this is a nice little mini stack you can go with here. 3.5K, you could probably mix in another Astros here if you want. But for me, this is a guy who's got a 390 WOBA against right-handed pitching. 4 of his 5 extra base hits on the season have come against right-handed pitching. And I know I highlighted how bad Dunning is, but when you look at the Rangers bullpen too, they have a 4.40 ERA. I know that's gone down a little bit thanks to the Oakland A's, which, they were disappointed me a little bit over the weekend, but alas. Second worst ERA of all bullpens, and then the worst FIP at 5.08 in all of baseball. So Brantley's another guy too who going up against Dunning. I like him a lot tonight.
Erik, your favorite value play?
Like Josh Naylor, who you can slot in at first base or the outfield for just 2,500. He missed the start of the season, coming back from a very serious leg injury that cost him most of last year. So he played in 7 games this season, but he's been excellent, hitting 400 with an expected batting average of 383, showing that he's making excellent contact, striking out just 11.5% of the time, with a barrel rate of 13.6%. He's a guy with pretty mediocre career numbers. He's played 659 plate appearances, so more or less a full season, maybe a bit more. Only has 17 homers and a 257 batting average. But he's just 24 years old and had good prospect pedigree. So I think this could be the start of a breakout season for him. Don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, just 7 games, but for 2,500, he doesn't have to be breaking out far to be good value. He'll get the platoon advantage here against Michael Lorenzen, who's had a couple of decent enough starts this season, but for the course of his career, 4.08 ERA, just a 20% strikeout rate, and a walk rate just shy of 10% while pitching mostly in relief. I don't think he's a scary matchup at all. Naylor's been hitting 5th and even 4th last game against righties. So I think for this kind of price, given the hot streak he's on, I think it's a great deal.
All right, let's go over to the sports book. Take us home with your favorite home run or your favorite run total. Erik, that Mets Cardinals total just 6.5.
Yeah, that's really low. It doesn't give you much room for if either pitcher has a bad day. I get it with Max Scherzer on the mound, but it's not the one I'm most excited about. Let's go out west where the Dodgers at Diamondbacks is set at under 9, even though Walker Buehler's pitching in this game against an Arizona team that's hitting 189 on the season. They have a 79 WRC plus collectively. Buehler actually hasn't been all that convincing this season. His velocity's down about a mile per hour, and he's just been pretty mediocre, just striking out 16.2% of opposing batters with an ERA of 4.02. So maybe this is not vintage Walker Buehler, but I don't think he has to be to keep the Diamondbacks off the board. And on the other side, Merrill Kelly is suddenly worth thinking about. He's actually a guy that I almost considered talking about in the pitchers section, even though it's the Dodgers. I think odds are it's not the best value there, but if you want a contrarian option for larger tournaments, his velocity is up almost a tick, although it was slightly down in his last start. He's got an ERA of 0.59 through 3 starts, striking out 28.6% of opposing batters. He's a guy who was a very nondescript back-end starter for the previous seasons, but it seems like he's something interesting now. I think he's going to do his part keeping this total under 9 runs.
Nick, which run total are you going to target tonight?
Yeah, I look at some team totals, and obviously I like the Astros a lot going up against the Rangers tonight. So them going over 4.5. I like them winning big in that one too. So I do like them covering. Looking at the Guardians at over 3.5 as well. But you brought up that Cardinals game, Jesse, so I do want to hit on that a little bit. Under 1.5 runs through the first 5 innings, of course, going up against Max Scherzer. I know they don't strike out a lot against right-handed pitching, so I maybe stay away from that K prop tonight. But more importantly, the Cardinals had the second highest soft hit percentage or soft hit rate up against right-handed pitching this season, and they are bottom 10 in hard hit rate against right-handed pitching. Kind of makes sense when you look at the math and everything too. But yeah, I like Scherzer holding them down tonight. Got a little bit of momentum. So yeah, under 1.5 runs to the first 5 frames.